Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Hope you guys had a fantastic day. So yes then, you join me for another Premier League prediction video. That is right guys, today we are predicting Premier League Game Week 2 predictions. That is right guys, this series is where I talk about each side, go through each matchup, then give you some details about each side and then give you my prediction at the end of that conversation. So like today's video guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already. Without further ado, let's begin with our Premier League Game Week 2 fixtures. First up, we have West Ham versus Chelsea. So West Ham got torn apart by newcomers Sunderland. That is right, man. West Ham did not have a great game at all. Their defence looked pretty shocking. Hermanson, their new goalkeeper from Leicester, made a few mistakes. So yeah, guys, I said to the start of the season, West Ham will find it hard this year to find goals, and that is what's happening right now. They got demolished by newcomers Sunderland, so massive 3-0 loss. Not great for Graham Potter on his, West Ham's first game of the season. They're up against Chelsea though, who also look quite bang average against Crystal Palace. That is right guys, Chelsea drew 0-0 with their London rivals Crystal Palace, and I've got to say, Chelsea didn't really look the same side as they did the start of the season. I know Chelsea guys quite a slow pre-season because obviously since the FIFA World Cup club thing, they haven't really had many matches obviously because they wanted to have a bit of a break. So Chelsea's pre-season didn't really go ahead, but I think Chelsea guys will bounce back this week and beat West Ham, because obviously West Ham right now are in trouble already. And just on that, I've got Chelsea guys to beat West Ham 2-0. Next up we have Man City versus Tottenham Hotspur. Basically these two sides are competing for top 4 this year. Man City beat Wolves 4-0, Holland with another 2 goals, and he's on fire already. By the way, I watched that game, and that Rinders, who they signed this year, what a fantastic player he is going to be, man. He's going to be like their next De Bruyne. He scored a goal, set 2 goals up as well. So Rinders, whatever you want to say, is going to be a massive, massive player for Man City this season. Alright. James Trafford made his first Premier League start for Man City. I've got to say, he looked fairly decent. Their original number 1, Ederson, I think he might be leaving to go to Galatasaray. So James Trafford will be number 1 this year, no doubt about it. And I've got to say, very good impression to be fair for first game. So Man City guys are off to a fantastic start, but so are Tottenham Hotspur. That's right, Tottenham beat Burnley 3-0 with Richarlison with 2 goals. So maybe guys, Thomas Frank can get the best out of Richarlison, because honestly guys, Richarlison on paper, fantastic player, but unfortunately, he just hasn't quite done it. But this year, this game against Burnley, he looked fairly decent. So you know what? Can Thomas Frank turn his career around at Tottenham? We shall find out. But yeah, overall, fantastic first win for Spurs as well. So just on that, guys, both of these teams are on form, and just on that, I got this game to end as a 2-2 draw. Next up, we have Bournemouth versus Wolves. That is right. Bournemouth were 2-0 down against champions Liverpool. They came back 2-2. Fantastic turnaround, but obviously Liverpool were put under pressure, and then they lost 4-2 in the end. But I will say though, that Bournemouth game, that Liverpool fan who racially abused Semedo, what an absolute melt. And apparently he has now been banned from each stadium across the UK. So see what happens with that one. But yeah, overall, what an awful thing. But anyway, Bournemouth guys, they looked fairly decent, I've got to admit. 2-0 down against Liverpool to get back to 2-2. But obviously Liverpool turned up the pressure. Bournemouth have just signed Ben Doak from Liverpool for £25 million. So they did lack a few striking options, and he will definitely provide that for them this season. So you know what, Bournemouth guys, even though they lost the first game, they looked fairly decent, I've got to say. And they're up against Wolves, who lost 4-0 to Man City. So not a great start for Wolves, I've got to admit. Personally guys, for me, Wolves kept making many mistakes in midfield, and it cost them a lot. So Wolves need to sort out their midfield passing and defensive passing, because they made a massive mistakes during that game. But Wolves, again, they are lacking striker options, guys. They only got one fit striker, and that's Jan Larson. And let's be real, he ain't going to be able to last the whole season. We'll see what happens, guys. But I think Bournemouth will bounce back this week and beat Wolves. That's why I got Bournemouth to beat Wolves 1-0. Next up, we've got Brentford versus Aston Villa. That's right. So Brentford lost 3-1 to Nottingham Forest. 3-0 down at half time. I've got to say, Brentford, though, they could be in trouble this season. They did compete second half, but guys, Brentford have lost so many key players this year. Obviously, Wizard is still there, but he is being an absolute idiot. Personally, guys, the way last season, Keith Andrews came in and he changed the whole set piece stuff going on. And when they scored last season, Wiz went straight up to Keith Andrews and hugged him, saying thank you for all this. So the way he's treating his manager now is kind of bad, and that's happened quite a lot this season. I get onto the rest in a bit, but Brentford, guys, are in trouble this season. I've got to say, in trouble. They're up against Aston Villa, who drew 0-0 with Newcastle, who also didn't look very good. Just like I mentioned about Wolves, made so many errors in midfield where they couldn't pass after 2 passes or so, and they kept losing the ball in defence, in midfield, and even attack. And to be fair, guys, they didn't really do anything up front either. They didn't even have, they didn't have many opportunities, I've got to admit. And it didn't look like a Villa side, I've got to admit. Like, it looked like a bang average Championship side. Obviously, it's first game of the season, guys, and obviously, rustiness needs to get out the systems. But what I've seen of that game, weren't great performance. But I think Villa, guys, will bounce back this week and beat Brentford. That's why I got Villa, guys, to beat Brentford 2-1. Next up, I've got Burnley versus Sunderland. Promotion teams this season. Burnley, guys, lost 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. Fairly poor result for Burnley for the first game back. Burnley kept the most clean sheets and also conceded the least goals in the Championship last season, but that will not be the case this year, guys. To step up from Championship to Premier League is massive, and Burnley again are a side that always get promotion, go back down, get promotion, come back down. So Burnley could be in that triangle again. But overall, Burnley for me, guys, have just not strengthened enough this season. Just to see what happens. Up against Sunderland, who have spent a lot of money this season and definitely strengthened their squad. They beat West Ham 3-0, by the way. What a fantastic result. Xhaka looked great. And the whole team looked great, guys, I've got to admit. So Sunderland, man, they are also not done yet in the transfer window. They put in a £30 million bid for my boy Abdul Fattawi from Leicester, but that got rejected, so good luck with that, Sunderland. But overall, though, guys, Sunderland, you know what? They could be a surprise package this season. But the way they have been spending and the way they played in their first game, fair play. And just on that, guys, I've got Sunderland to beat Burnley again, 3-0. Next, we've got Arsenal versus Leeds. So Arsenal, guys, beat Man United 1-0. Okay, I've got to say, Gyökeres has a lot to learn in the Premier League, guys. Honestly, he looked so slow. His turning looked so slow, and a lot of Arsenal fans are saying, is he really worth that money? Guys, it's the first game of the season. Rustiness needs to get out of the player system. But like I say, guys, Gyökeres has proved it in the Championship, proved it in the Portuguese League. Obviously, guys, the Premier League is a massive difference. So I don't know, guys. We shall see what happens. I picked him up last season saying how good he is. But watching that game, he needs to change his game up a little bit, I think. But anyway, overall, though, they still won. Man United 1-0. It's a good win for them right there. They're up against Leeds, who also beat Everton 1-0. And I've got to say, I watched that Monday night game against Everton, and Leeds were fantastic, guys. They pressed from the top. They worked as a team. The work rate of each player was fantastic, and the goal they scored in penalty, a bit controversial in my opinion. It wasn't a handball in my opinion. What else could James Toski do? Sort of chop his arm off. honestly, guys. But overall, again, fair play to Leeds. They came out that game and destroyed Everton, in my opinion. Yes, only 1-0, but the way Leeds played, fantastic. So just on that, guys, I do have Arsenal to only beat Leeds by a 1-0 win. Next up, we've got Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest. That is right, guys. Palace drew 0-0 with Chelsea at the weekend. A fairly decent result. It was quite a boring game, but Palace got a fantastic point out of Chelsea. They are set to lose Eze, which is really bad on them because obviously Eze is their best player they've got, and losing Eze, man, could be vital for their season. But they are wanting a Leicester boy called El Canus. One of these big teams, man, coming for someone like, you know, a team like Leicester's players, man. Like Leicester needs these players for the Championship this season. But anyway, Palace, guys, coming in for El Canus. In my opinion, El Canus is nowhere near as good as Eze. I know El Canus is younger, but Eze, guys, is top class in my opinion, and El Canus has just not proved it to me. But anyway, good draw overall. Palace, man, could be a good team this year, and they could get in the top 10 if they keep going. They're up against Forest, who beat Brentford 3-1. Fantastic win. Chris Wood again, it's on the score sheet twice. Chris Wood, guys, will have another big season. Trust, you know, mark my words, guys. Chris Wood's going to have another fantastic season. They are set to sign Douglas Luiz from Juventus, who played in the Premier League 2 years ago with Aston Villa. Fairly decent player as well, so he'll definitely strengthen their midfield up. And Forest, guys, I've got to a great start. But you know what, guys, I like Palace, so that's why I've got this game to end as a 1-1 draw. Next, we've got Everton versus Brighton. So Everton lost 1-0 to Leeds on Monday night. Everton lacked quality at the top end of the pitch. They played Dewsbury Hall. It was kind of isolated. They had Grealish on the bench, who came on, didn't really do much for me. They brought on another striker, their new signing, Thierry Barry, in the last 5 minutes. Personally, guys, Everton looked quite tired and not very good up front, and that could be a problem this season. But yeah, I think I said for one the last time, guys. Obviously, it's the first game of the season, and obviously all these teams have been buying new players, so you know it's just trying to gel in, get the team working together. So I think in a few games' time, you know, or next month or so, I think teams will start to find their rhythm a little bit, and I think that's what happened with Everton with Dewsbury Hall and Jack Grealish. Them two coming in will be a massive boost for them. They're up against Brighton, who drew 1-1 with Fulham. A fairly decent point for Brighton. Again, Brighton have signed many players this season. Yeah, I like Brighton, guys. Brighton do play some great football, and I think this year again, like last year, I think Brighton will compete in the top 10 position this season. Brighton do have trouble scoring goals, and so do Everton. So that's why, guys, I've got this game to end as a 1-1 draw. Fulham versus Man United. So Fulham, guys, drew 1-1 with Brighton. Fantastic point for Fulham right there. Fulham are the only team right now in the Premier League not to sign a player. So Fulham need to sign someone soon, because like I say, we've got like 10 days left of the transfer window, and Fulham do need to strengthen their attacking options a little bit, because I think the only fit strikers are Raul Jimenez and Munoz, and personally, you know, them two do get injured quite a bit. But you'll see what happens, guys. Fulham do need to strengthen up their attacking options, but I think the defence, guys, is kind of there, because they got, you know, Fulham do have a fantastic defence. So yeah, Fulham, guys, will have a good season. You know, Fulham, guys, won't struggle this year. I don't think they'll struggle, but they'll be against Man United, who lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Again, Man United, guys, are just Man United, aren't they? The same old Man United again. They looked kind of bang average again. And I said to you guys at the start of the season and last year, Amorim, for me, is not the right man for the job. I don't think he's got it in him to rebuild this Man United squad. And just on that alone, guys, watching that game, I do think Fulham will have put up a massive fight against Man United. So I've got Fulham, guys, to beat Man United 2-1. We are down to the final game of this game week 2. It is Newcastle versus Liverpool, guys. So Newcastle drew 0-0 with Aston Villa's first game of the season, and the talking point right now is Alexander Isak. Last night, as you're watching this, Isak put up a statement saying, you know, I will not be attending this Team of the Year presentation thing. The commitments were made last season that I could leave this summer, and Newcastle bounced back saying there was no communication of telling Isak he can leave this summer. So Isak, guys, I think he's just been a bit of a, how can I say this, entitled little boy. You know, he came to Newcastle for 2 years right now, and he's already wanting to leave because a bigger club came in for him. But Isak, the way he's treating Newcastle is bang out of order, and if he does somehow come back into this team, a lot of Newcastle fans will not welcome him back. And that is what happens, guys. If you disrespect players or even fans' football team, then you will not have a relationship with them again, because the way he's done it is kind of harsh and really, really bad. So personally, guys, if I was Newcastle, I'd literally drop him to the under-21s and just let him train there all summer. If that's the way he's treating them, then that's what should happen. They're up against Liverpool, who beat Bournemouth 4-2, 2-0 up, 2-0 and 1-4-2. And when Mo Salah scored to make it 4-2, at the end of the game, Salah, you can see Salah crying because obviously Diego Jota. And you know, guys, I think Liverpool will do it this year because they've got a fantastic side, and also because they want to do it for their best mate, Diego Jota. So yes, you can tell by this death, guys, that it has affected Liverpool badly, but it's also put that spice in the players to do well for him as well. So just on that, guys, I've got Liverpool to beat Newcastle 2-0. And there we go, guys, that's my Premier League Game Week 2 predictions. If you did enjoy today's video, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and if you agree with any of my decisions and choices, and if you want to talk to me about any team in the comments, put in a comment, guys. But anyway, Game Week 2 is around the corner, and I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Thank you for watching. Good night.